It's possible that you're a little puzzled right now as we try to solve this problem. Because we've talked about lowering prices to provide relief to consumers and raising wages to provide relief to laborers, but we've yet to talk about the thing that actually has these consumers really shackled, and it's the reliance on debt. So tonight we fix that with Video 8, Debt Regulation. When we start to look at debt regulation as a possible solution, it means that we believe that the problem is not that prices are too high or wages are too low, but that individuals like you and me are more likely to go into debt rather than ask for a raise or barter for a lower price. And if we make it just a little more difficult for banks to give out loans, or for consumers to take out loans, then maybe we can finally free consumers from the reliance on debt. So let's take a closer look at our first option, regulating the creditors. Introducing Charles. Charles is a banker, and he represents all banks in the United States of America. Now Charles found a new way to make a whole lot of money, and that's through giving out loans. Not just big loans for a house or a car that most people take out once or twice in a lifetime, but tiny little loans that people can take out over and over again in the form of a credit card. And these miniature loans are really successful, and the interest payments make these banks extremely profitable. In fact, they become some of the biggest businesses in the entire world. And so naturally, banks believe that the more people that have credit, the more growth they'll experience. And so they promote credit everywhere. And soon it becomes clear that Charles is incentivized to make people more reliant on debt than ever before because he'll make more profit that way. So perhaps Charles is the villain. So let's say as a result, the government decides that it's going to act and regulate the amount of people that Charles can give loans out to. So they decide to pass a law that ensures that banks only give loans out to people who are going to be able to pay them back. In other words, they're only giving loans out to prime borrowers. So what's going to happen to the supply of loans that banks deliver to the market if they have to use this new filtering system the government provides? Of course, they'll provide fewer loans to the market because there are fewer qualified borrowers, and so the supply will drop. Or maybe it's not the bank's fault at all. Maybe it's Sam's fault. This is Sam. Sam represents all consumers within the economy. And Sam really wants some stuff, like a big screen TV, a new pair of sneakers, little antler headbands, a slingshot, a classic tractor, graham crackers or saltines, really either will do, an in-ground swimming pool, and true love. And if Sam is willing to save up and wait, he can probably buy all of this stuff over time. Well, except love. You can't buy love. I think that's a song. Moving on. But Sam doesn't want to wait. Sam wants it now. And he knows that there's a way that he can get it now too. So Sam swipes his card, puts it on credit, gets what he wants now, and then pays for it later. And of course he will wonder why things are so miserable when it finally comes time to pay the piper. What Sam really needs is some discipline, and so the government's going to step in and provide that for him. Let's say in order to protect or control Sam, the government decides to pass some laws to keep this credit thing from getting out of hand. Let's say that the government decides you must be 21 years old or older in order to get access to credit, and you can only go into debt a certain amount, which is a percentage of your income. So what's going to happen to the demand for loans if these laws pass? Of course, the demand will go down as many people will not have access to credit because they do not meet the new criteria. So if you're tracking with me, we know if we regulate creditors like Charles in the banks, the supply will go down and the quantity of loans in the market will go down as well. You also know that if we regulate debtors like Sam, that the demand will go down and the quantity of loans in the market will go down as well. The difference between these two actually comes when we start to talk about the price of loans. What is the price of loans? The price is actually the interest rate that you pay in order to borrow the money. So if I borrow $100 at an interest rate of 10%, how much additional money am I going to have to pay back? Well, I have to pay back total $110, or $10 additional dollars. That $10 is the interest that I pay for the privilege of borrowing the original $100. So what happens to the price of loans, or the interest rate, when we change supply to the left, when we put regulation on creditors, or we put demand to the left, when we put regulation on our consumers? In order to understand this, let's take a look at these two regulations in graphical form. Here we have what will happen if we have regulation on creditors. we can see that the supply has shifted left as creditors are going to supply fewer loans on the market because of the regulation. So we're moving from S1 to S2. Now before, when we were at S1 in demand, we had an interest rate as we dash over of 5% and the loanable funds available of $1,200. When supply shifts to S2, we have a new equilibrium here. At this new equilibrium, when we dash over, we see that interest rates have risen to 6%. And when we dash down, we see that the quantity of loans available is down to 800. In other words, when you regulate creditors, you will shift supply left and you will push interest rates up while also lowering the quantity of loanable funds. Now let's see what happens to the loanable funds market when we regulate consumers. We can see we start with our original demand and supply curves, which gives us our initial equilibrium here. When we dash over, we have an interest rate of IR2, and when we dash down, we have a quantity of Q2. Now remember, our price is not price on our y-axis, it's actually interest rates, because that is the price of loanable funds. Now when we regulate consumers, or SAM, we know that fewer consumers are going to be qualified to take out additional loans. As a result, demand is going to drop. We show that by shifting our curve to the left from here to here. Now we see we have a new equilibrium. At this equilibrium, when we dash over, we see we have a new interest rate of IR1, which is lower than our original interest rate, and a new quantity of Q1, which is lower than our original quantity. In other words, when you regulate consumers, you're going to push demand down for loanable funds, which will lower the interest rate and lower the quantity of loanable funds. So if you choose regulation, now you have to decide which would you rather. Would you rather have high interest rates with a low quantity or low interest rates with a low quantity? After you've decided this, then you can decide which side to regulate. That's it for this video. Thank you for your time. If you want to take a moment to go back through the video to make sure you understand the key concepts, first, the impact of regulating creditors, second, the impact of regulating debtors, and third, what this all looks like in graphical format, then please do so. You will need that information for your pods tomorrow. Have a great night.